all about this gem coming up. Those stories all ahead, and joining me to break it all down this morning, Fox Business Network's Deegan McDowell, Crowd Pack CEO and former advisor to David Cameron. Steve Hilton is with us this morning, and pollster Lee Carter. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Big stories today, Deegan.
Big stories, and I was going through a lot of the headlines. It's like anti-Catholic, groping, touching. You can't imagine that these news items are about a presidential election. Leaks, hacked emails, you name it, and it's all about the two people running for the White House.
Yeah,
It's astonishing.
We're going to get into it this morning, and we've got an amazing lineup, so stay with us. Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich is with us this morning. Author of Defeating Jihad, Dr. Sebastian Gorka will weigh in. LifeZette editor-in-chief and radio talk show host Laura Ingraham is with us, and Philadelphia Federal Reserve President Patrick Harker. Don't miss a moment of it. We've got a big show coming up this morning. First, breaking overnight, the U.S. launching missiles at coastal radar sites on Yemen's Red Sea after Iranian-backed Houthi rebels targeted missiles at U.S. Navy warships. The U.S. Navy confirming that the radar sites have been destroyed in this missile strike. This marks the first time the U.S. has retaliated against these Houthi rebels in Yemen's civil war. We'll bring you the very latest developments as we get them, as this situation unfolds. More twists and turns on the trail. Meanwhile, Donald Trump stumping in Florida before heading to Ohio later today, while Hillary Clinton goes to California. This is coming as Donald Trump denies a New York Times report this morning that he touched two women inappropriately. Hillary Clinton capitalizing on this to sway voters. Watch.
I am tired of all the divisions and the barriers. I want to bring people together across our party lines, across any lines that divide us, and not just people who vote for me. I want to be the president, yes, for Democrats, but also Republicans and independents. And I am very grateful for all of the Republicans who are supporting me. I want to give you something to vote for, not just something to vote against.
Donald Trump is threatening to sue the New York Times this morning. Trump campaign spokesman Jason Miller said this in a statement: for the New York Times to launch a completely false, coordinated character assassination against Mr. Trump on a topic like this is dangerous. To reach back decades in an attempt to smear Mr. Trump trivializes sexual assault, and it sets a new low for where the media is willing to go in its efforts to determine this election. I want to bring in Jay Chaubria, former Kasich senior advisor and a Republican strategist. Jay, thanks so much for weighing in.
Good morning.
What's your reaction to these new allegations this morning?
You know, it's pretty amazing. The American public is like watching a real-life reality show, and every night a new tape drops, a new WikiLeaks email comes out. And we're conditioned to say, that's a great cliffhanger. What's going to happen next? That's not a great place for our democracy, and it's not a great place for our nominees. It's almost a sad state of affairs.
It's a sad state of affairs, but it's also quite specific timing, isn't it? I mean, when you look at these big stories that have come out, they coincide exactly to the WikiLeaks dump. So is this all about, let's start a fire over here so we forget what's going on over here?
Yeah, but that's a distraction. That's politics. That's the way it works. I mean, look, it's important to remember that the election's already begun. Early voting here in Ohio started yesterday, so a lot of these things are baked in. There's not like a lot of time here to come back and try to make a play for the middle or suburban women. That's already happening. More than a third of the electorate will have voted before the election, and that's a really important point to remember because it's not just a play for November 8th.
Let's talk about these allegations this morning and the impact. Deegan McDowell, how do you see it?
With the allegations, again, it's a pile-on of what we already know. I don't know how much more damage it does, but what could be more damaging to the Trump campaign is the fact that, and there's legitimacy in his argument, in his campaign's argument, that the mainstream media does not cover what is happening with the Clinton campaign with the same headlines, with the same vigor. I know I'm not comparing what he's been accused of to anything on the Clinton side, but I think that it bears attention and it merits attention. If you go to the top page of Politico this morning, check out Trump tape, how Democrats are using Trump's hot mic fiasco. The 7 oddest things that Donald Trump thinks. Inside Clinton's fragile relationship with Democrats. And then RNC TV ad spending for Trump is $0. So it's
Not a word about what she said about the religious comments.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because in these
Christians and Catholics are outraged this morning.
In these emails that were leaked, which, by the way, the Clinton campaign, they won't confirm or deny their authenticity, there are blatant anti-Catholic emails, repugnant comments about Catholicism and religion, and it was in relation to the man who founded News Corp and 21st Century Fox, Rupert Murdoch, in addition to Robert Thompson. But it was Jim Palmieri and also one of the guys from Center for American Progress. But the things that they say in these emails are repugnant, and in the words of the Wall Street Journal editorial page, this is a window into the intolerant secular soul of the Democratic establishment, and perhaps explains why it has done so little to accommodate requests for religious liberty.
And not a word about that on that Politico headline, correct? Not a
No,
word
I
about that in
couldn't
the
find
Washington Post.
Hey, how about New York Times? I searched Catholic. The only thing that came up was an AP story in the search.
Right, but they do have the allegations from a woman from 30 years ago.
Front page, and also how Republicans are behaving in the aftermath of the Donald Trump tape. Those are the two main stories.
You were very involved in Britain exiting the EU and the groundswell that was going on. They wanted change. Do you see similarities here?
I see such similarities, and I think that the other similarity is the way that you've got the establishment, the political establishment, the media establishment, completely joining together against the people who want change, and that is what's happening here. And it seems to me that the Clinton campaign and the media are desperate for this election to be about anything other than the big change that America needs. Anything other than that, because they know that they've lost that argument. So the only way they're going to win the election is by making it about these personal stories.
Oh, wait, let me just add that John Podesta telling Hillary Clinton in an email to call some needy Latinos.
The judgment.
Where's the headline on the front page of the New York
That's not on
Times about
Politico
that?
either?
No, I couldn't find it because there are all
That's
these
not there either.
Not in the top, not in the top stories.
The judgment and disdain for people is so clear coming out of the Clinton campaign and the media, and yet they're claiming that Donald Trump and his supporters are such bigots and intolerant. And yet on the other side, look at all the people they have called idiots, deplorable.
Yeah.
They have gone and belittled, called them idiots. It is just astounding to me.
Yesterday it was
the
Bill
double
Clinton,
standard.
Bill Clinton calling Trump supporters a bunch of rednecks.
Someone tweeted me yesterday and said we're going to need a bigger basket for all the deplorables
I
that
guess
she's
so.
putting in there.
Jim, what's your reaction to all of this?
Look, railing against the mainstream media is a fantastic base strategy. The problem here is Donald Trump is trying to reach out to independent women and suburban men, and he's failing in all accounts there, and that's the problem. Look, Republicans are great at doing autopsies after we lose an election, but we are looking at a real-life train wreck. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to change things?
Well,
How are we going to save the House and the Senate? And that's what
isn't it partly because the party refuses to stay together?
Yeah.
Where was John Kasich during the convention when it was in Ohio?
Well, I think he's been proven right in a lot of in where he's been. I mean, we've got a nominee here who's being accused every day of sexual assault. I mean, that's not a party that I want to be a part of myself. I'm more worried about Paul Ryan and his House majorities and the Senate right now. And if I were a strategist in those races, I would say localize your races, because this is tsunamis coming against you, and we've got to be ready for that.
Can I just jump in? I just don't understand, Jay, why the party can't get together behind the policy agenda that Trump's putting out. There is such unity on questions like corporate tax cuts generally, regulatory reform, school choice. All these things bring the GOP together. I just can't understand
Especially
why
after
they
he signed a
can't
pledge, right? He signed a pledge.
Yeah.
So we're talking. Well, look, the policies certainly are important, but I also don't think that people know quite where he's going to go with the policies.
Thing in terms of an election.
It's the most important thing to the Dems. It's the most important things to the other side. They all get in line.
In the 90s, when I first got into this business, we all were against Bill Clinton because character counted. Character counts here too. And look, we can say we're united, we're not united, but the reality is we are facing a train wreck. And if we do not do something about it, we are going to lose the House, we're going to lose the Senate too. And we have to do everything we can to preserve those as Republicans. That's what I care about right now.
Are you worried about losing the presidency?
I think that's already. I think this race is pretty much done right now. I mean, when you look at the numbers, I don't see how he can rebound with suburban women, and he's going to, and also with suburban men too. I think this race is almost over.
Just to be clear, though, it's more important to you that the person is there than the policies. You're dismissing the policies.
No. That's not an accurate assessment. Look, all of this matters, but we're talking about the presidency of the United States. Hillary Clinton is an awful candidate. She should not be president. There's no doubt about that.
So who should be?
This is the problem here for a lot of us Republicans out here and people that have worked in the party. There's not one person that we believe that is qualified to be president. But we have an opportunity to save the Senate and to save the House, and I'm trying to send a wake-up call to people. Let's do that, because that's going to be really important in the Hillary Clinton presidency.
You've also got 30 days left, 27 days left to try to save the presidency as well. That's where you are right now. Let me ask you this, Jay. Steve, you wanted to jump in once more.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Jade, you talked about the 90s. I remember very clearly that Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, sitting there talking about his personal behavior and him saying what really matters is policy. I think the people of this country will be wise enough to ignore personal behavior. Hillary Clinton nodding along. And if it was okay in the 90s to ignore the personal behavior and focus on the policy, what's changed now?
No. Look, I think I'm on record saying character counts. You want someone with a good character in the presidency, and
all right. So then what you're saying is Hillary Clinton's character you want to see in the White House then?
I didn't. No. Please don't say that. I'm not for Hillary Clinton.
There are two choices this election, Jay. Two choices.
Here's what I'm saying. This is a reality. We are facing an electoral tsunami against us. We have to deal with that as a party. And if we're going to deal with that, we have to try to save our House majority and save our Senate. And that's what I want to do. I don't deal in places where I want to go. I'm a Republican operative, and I want to try to win these races. And I'm trying to send a warning signal out to my friends around the country. Let's save them. Let's localize these races, because we're hitching on our train to we're hitching our wagon to a train that's going to go off the cliff right now.
All right, Jay. Good luck to you, Jay Shabria, joining us there.
Thanks for having me.
Fox Business Network will take you live to the third presidential debate, moderated by our own Fox News' Chris Wallace. Our special primetime coverage will kick off at 6 p.m. Eastern on October 19th. I hope you'll join us there. We're going to be live. Mornings with Maria will be live from Vegas on October 19th and the 20th from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Big programs coming up in Vegas next week. Coming up, 2 police officers